It was Katsucon 2017. My friend and I randomly decided to go to an Ita bagging panel. The results? Devastating. Ita bags, like most things on this channel, originate from Japan. And the word ita comes from the word itai, meaning painful. And the idea is that these bags have so many things on them that they're painful to look at. A cousin to the Ita bag is the Itasha, which is a car that is decked out in anime decals. And ultimately, both of them serve as a mobile shrine to a character who you really like. I had definitely seen Ita bags before, but I swear something happened around 2017 that made them become ubiquitous, to the point that if you go to a con, you will definitely see people with Ita bags. And the trend originated in Japan with the Wego heart window bags and the swimmer scallop bags being like super popular. But I think that since the trend has taken off in the West, the kinds of bags that we're seeing now are like way more innovative, and this is definitely reflected on the Japanese market as well. And as you maybe do or don't know about me, there's nothing I love more than building a shrine to a character.
Horrible!
My first Ita bag was for Robin from Fire Emblem, and this also got me into collecting keychains. My bag took several forms, but I was never truly happy with it. And I think the hardest part for me is that Ita bags were kind of born in the like kawaii fashion trend Harajuku culture. So at the time that I was looking to put my bag together, most bags just came in pastel colors. And I personally prefer jewel tones, and Robin is made up of jewel tones. So I was never really happy with any of the base bags that I could find for him. I think the closest I got was this gold bag that I got, but it was kind of cheap and it fell apart, and I just wasn't like feeling the style of bag. And this early bag that I had, this was something that I only brought to cons, so having like the character on full display didn't bother me, but I wouldn't wear an Ita bag like this for daily wear. Eventually I ended up getting this swimmer bag, which I just absolutely obliterated from overuse. These bags were not made for daily use. They were made for putting on for a special occasion and going out and looking cute. I don't know why I didn't think about that at all. I wanted to be cute all the time, so I used the bag all the time, but it really it did not hold up well. But I loved this bag because it was a crossbody, and it was like more subtle, I think, just due to its size, and the bag itself was already very stylish. So like the stylishness of the bag isn't just coming from the pins or the fact that it's an Ita bag, like it's just a cute bag. Also for my pins, I decided to use non-anime pins. I have a couple in there now, but the idea was just that it would be like cute aesthetic pins. And I got a lot of compliments on that bag when I carried it around daily. People would ask if it was like a Disney bag, which it wasn't. And this swimmer bag was the closest I got to being happy with an Ita bag. Oh, at one point I also had an Ita board, and it was enormous, and it was really based on the idea of quantity over quality, which I'm gonna definitely discuss as we move forward. I also found Ita bagging to be like kind of stressful. Since I really like aesthetic things and curating, I thought it would be fun to build an Ita bag, but something about it, and it could just be that I wasn't happy with the bags that I was choosing. Like if I'm not happy with the base, I'm not going to be happy with the things I put into it. That's Ita bagging became really stressful. Since bagging had become stressful, I ended up pretty much deciding to give it up in favor of Ita hoops or embroidery pin hoops. and I have 2 of those in my collection right now. So I saw this on TikTok. It is the Wego satchel bag. And these kinds of bags did not exist back when I was trying to Ita Bag the first time. The Wego satchel bag is available in tons of colors, and it is shaped like a briefcase or a school bag or a satchel. So my daily bag that I use is a crossbody bag. I have a couple that I kind of rotate through, like depending on my outfit. But I had been thinking about shaking it up a bit and getting this kind of bag. There was a Spy Family like set of bags, and the Anya one was kind of this shape, and I thought it was really cute, so I thought about getting it, but I wasn't into the colors that they used, and that was what really planted the idea in my mind that like I needed a satchel bag. And that's why when I saw this on TikTok, I was shaken to my core. And definitely the coolest part about these bags is that the window is hidden, so you don't have to like bear your weave shame like you do with the heart bag. Whether or not you want to bear that shame is your choice. So Wego is a Japanese company, and I purchased from them using my favorite proxy service, Zen Market, who is not sponsoring this video. So like I said, there's tons of colors available, and I decided to grab the bag in the 2 most boring colors, black and brown. I was having trouble deciding between the 2, and my friend convinced me that I should just get both. So I chose black and brown because I like that like vintage kind of realistic, real life looking aesthetic, and those matched it the best. But I do love all the other colors, but I got it in black and brown. Welcome to Hanako-kun's review, where today we'll be reviewing the Wego satchel bags. Here's my special assistant, Nene. I was forced to be here. These Wego satchel bags sure are beautiful. Nene, why don't you tell us more about them? The Wego satchel bags, retailing at 4,000 yen. Nene, we don't talk about money here. The Wego satchel bags are made of pleather. These pleather satchel bags are not too big or too small. In fact, they're just the right size. On one side, we have a door. We have the flap. On one side, we have the flap, which is secured with 2 magnets. And on the other side, we have the window, which is see-through. So the inside of the bag is pretty roomy. It's got a lining in it, and it says Wego. But what about the insert, Nana? Tell them how it attaches. Tell them. The insert is pretty clever, actually. It attaches using Velcro. All you have to do is detach the Velcro, and the insert comes right out. That makes it easier to decorate, or if you want to swap out your inserts. The bag also comes with this keychain thing, which you can add a button or a small plush into for even more ways to display your objects. The bags are pretty good quality, but we would still be careful with them when you go out and about. Okay, thanks for watching. So my 2 pin hoops are Robin from Fire Emblem Awakening and Celine Bradley from Full Metal Alchemist. And I think a lot of people would assume that I would have a Hanako hoop. And I think I mentioned this in my Hanako coasters video. But there is so much Hanako-kun merch compared to those other 2 characters that I don't feel as obligated to buy it. And it has actually saved me a lot of money.
Stay the line, Bart!
So we're making the brown one a Hanako-kun bag.
Yay!
There were definitely some keychains that I wanted, and this was the perfect excuse. Also the brown, it just matches him, like, I had to, and I can't think of anyone else who I would want to make the bag for. And the black one I am using as an overflow for my Celine pin collection. There's only one pin though.
Stop this! Stop this!
It probably would have been smarter for me to use that for a different character, but that's my boy, and carrying him around with me brings me great joy. I think my favorite thing about the hoops is how limited the space is, and having such a limited space really forces me to think about which pieces I put in the collection, and ultimately the rule I decided on is no repeats. So here's the Robin hoop. My Robin collection is mostly fan merch, but I tried to have an even blend of fan merch and official merch. Basically, I put official merch on there first, and then I filled in the gaps with fan merch. Not to show any like superiority over official merch, but to me it's like so exciting when the character gets official merch that I always prioritize that. But Robin has like a default pose, which is book and sword, and a lot of fan merch uses that pose. So for the no repeats rule, what I decided to do is like just pick one keychain where he has that pose and not have like multiple keychains of him making the same pose, because to me that would be repetitive. Another thing I did was he's got a couple cute like chibi versions, but I decided to add some realistic looking keychains and pins as well, so that it's not all chibi and we have a nice blend of forms of the character. The Salim hoop is my favorite. I think it's because I had to put even more work into acquiring this many unique pieces. So for this one, kind of the focus was like concept. I guess it is similar to the Robin one, but basically sometimes pins or pieces will have a repeating concept. And in this case, for Salim, on the pin board, I have one where it's him non-chibi with shadows in the background. And then I have this other pin, which is the one that's in the overflow bag. And that is also him non-chibi with shadows in the background. So for my arrangement, I wanted to pick only one of those pins so as to not have it be redundant. But I really love like the variety of concepts in this pin board. I've got him looking evil. I've got him happy. I've got him with shadows. I've got him with his mom. And then I even really love that I have one pin that is literally like just his shadow form. So I really love this pin board. I used to have a huge cork board for Robin, and the idea was that I would fill it with Robin. Eventually, I realized I couldn't fill it, and I just made it like a general anime aesthetic Ita board, but I wasn't completely happy with that. To me, it felt like kind of junky. And it was after that that I started doing these very, very curated boards. And that was when I really like established those rules of how I want everything to be very purposeful. So honestly, making these like gave me a lot of confidence in making arrangements that I never had before when I was Ita bagging. In hindsight, I was prepped to go back to Ita bagging, but I didn't know it. And I got to start pretty much from scratch with my Hanako-kun pin collection. So I was able to apply those ideas from the start. In the last segment, I talked about my own personal way of doing arrangements, but the Ita Bag fandom is very diverse and it has a good bit of history with designs that are popular, arrangements that are popular, and I wanted to show that the way I have chosen to arrange my bag is not the best way or the only way. It's just the way that appeals to me the most. So for this section, I wanted to show other people's bags, and I headed to an Ita Bagging Facebook group, which I joined back when I was more active, and I asked all of the nice people there to send me pictures of their bags. So in this next segment, I'm going to be going through the bags that people have sent me, and I want to point out like the different kinds of arrangements that they've used, and just ways that they're appealing, and give other examples of Ita bags that are not my own. So all of these pictures were shown with permission. I'll be putting the names of the creators at the bottom. And also this segment is brought to you by my new hats, which are available on my Etsy. I have them in a bunch of different colors. So let's go ahead and get to it. So this one, a lot of the others in here are anime characters, but this is a nice blending between Ita Bags beginning in Japan and Ita Bags becoming popular internationally, is that we have a Jurassic World Ita Bag. What's cool is that this showcases a different kind of merch. Since so many of the other bags are Japanese, we're mostly seeing Japanese merch and Japanese style merch, which would be, you know, rubber straps, buttons, rosettes. But since this is not a Japanese character or a Japanese series, we're seeing more of the kinds of merch pieces that you get outside of Japan. I think it's very creative how they went about making a bag and making a layout for a character who doesn't get traditional kinds of merch. This one I was so excited for because of the Nendoroid dolls. To me, making a Nendoroid doll of a character is an extra layer of love, an extra layer of affection, and seeing people who have Nendoroid dolls of characters always makes me so happy. Over here, there's also this My Hero, this Endeavor. Why did I forget his name for a minute? There's this Endeavor bag. I love how all of the pins in here are layered. This is one of the classic Wego style heart bags, but I love how they added these frills around the heart. It just adds some extra decoration to what is a very simple bag design. And something about how all of the pins in here are overlapping to me is very aesthetically pleasing. So here's a selection of bags that are shaped differently. I alluded to that earlier in the video, but this is one of the things that I really noticed after being away from Ita Bags for a while and then checking back in on the fandom, is that the kinds of bags, like a lot of these are Kickstarters, the kinds of bags that people come up with are so creative. So this one is a bag that they are using for a vampire character, and it has a cross and it has like little drippies on it. It's so well themed, and this arrangement would also look good in a plain red bag, but the extra element of the drips and the cross, it helps take things to the next level. I also think I recall the creator saying that they made a lot of these, and I love that. I love that extra level of dedication. I think I'm gonna be talking about dedication more, of having a character who doesn't have merch and then you just make them their own merch. Like that makes it more special. So for these characters, we have a lot of pixel aesthetic. And then inside is a pixel heart. So this is once again super creative because there's the Wego heart bag, which is iconic to Ita bagging, but this is a pixel version of that. So it's kind of playing with the familiar sight of a heart bag and choosing a bag that blends really well with the characters and with their aesthetic. This next batch has some very unique styles of arrangements. One thing that's interesting about Ita Bags or Ita Bag culture is that there are kinds of arrangements that have names and that you'll see recurring. And I think a lot of these are maybe more seen in Japan. This is not the style of bag that I do, so I didn't look that much into it. But I think it's really cool. I'm having a hard time talking through it, so I'm just gonna go straight for it. So these kinds of arrangements use a lot of repetition, and it works well for characters who maybe don't have as much merch. This bag is actually an OC, which is so cool that like they had this much dedication to their OC that they made all of this merch for them. And it's cool because it imitates the official kind of Japanese merch. So this one uses a lot of repeating colors and it has a pretty defined color palette. This one we have a lot of contrast. And typically anime characters who are, oh, so this is Hypnosis Mai. So typically anime characters who are from these kinds of series like Idols, they will have a signature color, which makes bag making even better because you can very easily, you can assume that the character's merch is all going to be one color, and that makes it really easy for you to buy a variety of merch and for you to pick a bag that will definitely go with the merch. So this character uses a lot of reds and pinks. I see some yellows in here too. And they have a bright yellow bag, which really makes everything pop. To me, this is like strawberry lemonade as a bag. This is another OC bag from the same creator of the first bag. And these are, so this is a kind of arrangement that uses plushes. They make these omanju style plushes of a lot of characters. A lot of characters I like have plushes like this. I wish I was more into them, especially with arrangements like these. Like, these are so cool. So basically you treat these as buttons and you fill up the whole bag with your plushes. It's super cute. It adds a nice tactile element to an arrangement. This group I thought was especially strong because of their use of color. So for this bag, this character has a very strong color scheme with that yellow and the orange, and the bag reflects that perfectly. So on the outside we have an orange bag, and then for the insert they used this green color, which is just dead on for the character. I think this makes a really great vibrant bag, and it's playing to the strengths of the character's design. Like, you can do anything you want, you know? So I think it's cool that they decided to embrace the colors on the character. And it looks too here like there's some hand added elements. I think those are done really well and help tie the whole thing together. This one right here, these two are by the same creator. These bags feel so fresh. It's cool because I would never think to use a fully clear Ita bag, but I think it helps make the whole concept of an Ita bag feel less overwhelming. It feels very fresh and airy, and I love the colors that the characters have. It reminds me of summer. Once again, just so many things going on, so many different versions of the character, all of her different outfits. There's different kinds of merch down here. I actually don't know what these are. I think they're magnets, or like they might be the cards kind of kept inside of a little case. But it's just cool that all of these things exist. And another thing that this bag reminded me of is fairy lights. I remember that being super popular when I was bagging a couple years ago. And I'm terrible with electronics, so I never even attempted it. But it's really cool that you can put lights in your bag. And I think this is the only bag from the submissions that had lights in them. So I don't know if maybe it's not as common anymore, but it adds to it, you know? Like, it kind of gives the whole thing a mystical vibe. Here was another picture of that same bag in action. Have we talked about dedication yet? I love these. This is like, to me, this is so admirable. This is peak. So here we have 4 Seto Kaiba bags. All of them have different merch. They have different like styles of arrangements. They have colors that go really well with the character. I'm just gonna kind of scan through all of them. This one has the ID badge like the Jurassic World one did, actually. And I don't know, I just love seeing people who really, really love a character and have a lot of dedication to them to make this many unique bags. And this one's so cute too. It's like Blue Eyes White Dragon theme. It's adorable. And I'm jealous of Kaiba lovers for getting this much merch. So the way the bag purchasing works is you put in your order, then it gets sent to the warehouse in Japan, and then it gets sent to you. So there's a good amount of time between like me deciding that I wanted this bag and actually getting the bag. So I had a lot of time to figure out which pieces I wanted to put into it. And I also took advantage of the fact that I had a Zen Market order going to get some things from Surugaya, which is a Japanese secondhand like store. They have a ton of pins and stuff for like really good prices. They do ship internationally, but they charge too much for shipping, so I always just use Zen Market. So with plenty of time to hunt, I hit the road, the digital road, and I went and got me some pins. So let me show you the pins that I got. So this right here is a stained glass keychain. This is the only one that I already had, and I picked it up because it was just so like specific to my taste that I had to get it. This chibi enamel pin was a random find at MomoCon from the artist Jelly Momo. I love it because it has bright colors and it's just like a really cute representation of Hanako. Another surprise find was this retro Hanako-kun keychain. I really love this outfit on Hanako. It's like a retro kimono with the little shirt underneath. I don't know why I love like the kimono with the shirt underneath and like the little hat. It's like the Eastern Western blend. Anyway, I already have the acrylic stand version of this, and this one has like stripes on the back, so I thought that kind of made it like unique and different, and I'm excited to have a version of this artwork that I can carry around with me. So even though I said I was like planning, a lot of those came to me by surprise, but they fit into like the idea of what I was looking for. Anyway, this one is the only one that I like truly planned, and this is the one that I grabbed off of Surugaya. It's a limited keychain from the special edition of the Japanese manga, and this depicts my favorite arc from the series. And this is one of those keychains that I had seen before and like kind of wanted but had no excuse to buy. When I realized I could buy this keychain, I was so excited. This is definitely my favorite out of the whole collection, and I'm so happy to have it. This is also the only blue piece in the arrangement. For sentimental reasons, I do not care. And also the blue is a subdued, muted retro blue, and it still fits in the color family of all of the others. It also works as like a great pop of blue, so no problems here. And honestly, this collection could still use a couple of pieces, but I don't want to rush to fill the arrangement. What I have right now is perfectly fine to have a decent looking arrangement, and anything else I find will just be gravy on top. And it's way better than the Celine bag. So step one is picking a backing. A backing is an optional thing to have, but I always like to have it because it adds extra element to the arrangement. On my thrashed swimmer shoulder bag, I chose this striped design, and that gave it like a vintage, perhaps cottagey feel, and I think that really contributes well to the arrangement. For my robin hoop, I used gold because that's a good image color for him, and it works well with his outfit. And I also have like a kind of a shiny textural element to it. For my Salim hoop, I chose blue. I chose this with like a white hoop because it reminded me of the Amestris uniform, and I didn't want to have it be like too homunculus with black and red. And I think that the blue, like, it works really well with him. It doesn't feel overwhelming. It doesn't like drown out the colors. So, and it's also a brocade, so it has like some tiny hidden designs in it. I do prefer like a design fabric over something that's very plain. So as you can see, the backing is very important to me, and I think it's a great way to add something else to the design. I was real gung-ho about this, and the bag even has like a removable insert, but attaching the fabric backing was made a little bit difficult because of this. So the insert that comes with the bag, it has this sort of like webbing on it that you can kind of pull it apart and see like Yeah, it's like a see-through kind of webbing. And I think that was made for you to hook your things onto. But by the time I like took this out of the bag and realized it, I was already so enamored with the backings that I had chosen that I decided to add the backings anyway. And I had to do this by literally sewing my fabric onto this little insert that is included in the bag. This does count as like a modification of the bag. So I guess if you thought you were ever going to sell it, don't do this. But I'm going to do it because I'm not planning to sell these bags. So for backings, I use scrap fabric from my fabric bin since I'm a cosplayer and I just have tons of fabric. And what I decided to use was this deep red color. I'm actually planning to use that on my Hanako cosplay, so I guess it works out. And the reason I chose it is because I feel like it has a warmth to it that pairs well with the colors on the pins. And to explain that better, I'm going to show like these other fabrics that I had considered using and why they don't work. So first off is this black and gray one with leaves on it. I thought it might work well because it's a somewhat neutral color and it would maybe make the pins pop out more. But what ended up happening is that the black silhouettes of the leaves connect to the black pieces in some of the pins and it like is distracting or it makes them blend in too much, whereas they should be really popping out. And in general, the pattern is just kind of distracting. Another one I thought I would use is this yellow fabric because I thought it might match Hanako's eyes and make things pop. But what it ended up doing was making all of the colors look really like obnoxious and childish. Especially like the pink in the enamel pin. So it's just not doing anything for the pieces. But the deep red that I ultimately chose, I feel like it kind of envelops the pieces in a warmth. It has that like subdued color that just complements all of the reds that are in the pieces. And it doesn't make them feel obnoxious. I feel like it makes them feel sophisticated. So that's the reason I ultimately went with that red. And if you're curious about the Celine bag, for that one I decided to do this purple, very like patterned fabric. I ran out of the blue fabric that I used on his hoop, and the whole thing with his hoop anyway was that it was blue and white, so I don't think it would have had like that same amestris uniform feel anyway. So I decided to use purple because purple is kind of like a secondary color for the homunculi. Like there's black and red and then like green and purple kind of go well with them. So I used purple and I picked this kind of fancy design because I like to use those fancy designs for Salim because like he's rich. And I think it also blends in well with like my personal vintage kind of fancy aesthetic. Because you do have to remember that, like, even though this is a pin bag, this is also my bag, and I want it to reflect me as well. So to cover the insert with fabric, what I ended up doing was cutting a slice of fabric that was just a little bit bigger than the insert. I hemmed the top part of it, and then I just pretty much folded the edges and like sewed it to the insert. So like I said, you are going to be sewing through the insert, which is pleather, if you decide to do this, but I'm not planning to sell the bag, which is why I felt comfortable doing it. So all I did was I just left a little strip at the top where the Velcro could still be accessed. And with this done, I am now ready to actually put the keychains on and make the arrangement. So since 3 of my 4 pieces are keychains and not pins, what I'm going to first do is get some like pliers or whatever and take the keychain part off of it. You can leave the keychain part on and just hang it like this on the backing, but I think it makes it look cleaner if you can get rid of this part. So while I was putting the arrangement together, I had a bit of a shakeup. I had everything all laid out, and before I move on, my layout is really simple. It was really just like what's gonna fit, because everything was like much tighter than I thought it would be. And I realized that everything else was totally popping except for the stained glass one. I think just a combination of the silhouette and the overall darkness of this one really made it blend in too much. And at first I had kind of resigned to like, oh, I guess I'll replace it eventually sometime down the line. And then I remembered that I had this keychain that I was given by my friends Tiffany and Jordan. And I popped that on there instead, and I liked it so much better. So don't be afraid to change things up. I don't know. Let's go ahead and look at the finished bag. And there we are. So I am so happy with how this came out. I thought that I would need to get more pieces to fill in space, but honestly, like this is much more crammed in there than I thought it would be, especially since like this retro one is huge. I don't think I could fit anything in there. Like maybe like the world's tiniest Nana pin could go there, but otherwise, I think it looks really great, and I'm really happy with it. The chibi keychain that I added last minute, and that ended up really complementing the chibi pin at the bottom. And I think overall, like, he looks happy. I'm glad to see my boy happy. I do still have the little keychain attachment part. I think this is perfect for those little orb plushes. Unfortunately, I don't really like those. So maybe sometime down the line, I'll try to get like a button or something to put in there. Even though I don't want a lot of weeb showing on the front, I think just one button should be fine. But otherwise, I am so happy that I found out about these bags. I'm so happy I decided to get both of them like in 2 colors. And I'm really happy with how the arrangements look. I'm looking forward to filling out the Salim one more. I'm like contemplating whether I want to buy doubles of just some of the ones that are on my hoop. I'm so excited to carry these around in my daily life and like have some of my faves with me at all times. So thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in keeping up with me on social media, I'm able to post there a lot more often, obviously, than I'm able to make full videos. And I talk about making my videos, and I kind of like whatever the next video is going to be. So yeah, if you want to follow me there, that info is up on the screen. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching.